Hello and welcome to Minutes of Joy podcast. I am your host, Essie Biegon, and here we have introspective conversations and we discover wellness. Today I am joined by Eugene and Ali. I'm so honored to have you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us on the show. I mean, it's a bit impromptu, but I do believe this is going to be interesting. I've been listening to your podcast, so I know I'll enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
How about you, Ali?
Yeah, Esther, thank you so much. Yeah, it's as much as we're impromptu guests, I think you're covering a very important and crucial subject.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy to be here to share our thoughts and feelings about it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm honored, happy, excited, everything.
Great.
So I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Who's Eugene? Who's Ali?
So, Eugene is, well, I like to refer to myself as a media consultant because I'm not just dealing with one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although mostly you can call me a podcaster because that's what I've mostly been focused on so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a podcaster. I work with radio production. I write scripts, a few other things on the side, but mostly in media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy to have you. Yes.
Yes, so like I said, I'm Ali Mwangola. I'm 58 years old, and I've worked mainly in film as an art director stroke production designer, but I also delve in, or rather I also do voice acting, which was something I just happened to fall into by chance, but now it's very much my core business, so to speak. But all the same, I'm happy to be here.
Okay. As you can see, I have very interesting guests. My podcast, as you both know, is on holistic wellness. So I'd like to just define that for our listeners and even for both of you. Holistic wellness is basically treating your body, mind, and spirit. So there are various ways to do that. You can, by treating your mind, for example, you can journal so that you can express your feelings. By treating your body, you can work out and just make sure that your physical strength is good. For treating your spirit, for example, you can, if you are spiritual, you can talk to God. You can have spiritual practices that help you maintain or make sure that your mental health is good. That said, I'd like to know what your understanding of wellness is and if there's any wellness practice that you have, especially as a creative, because both of you are creatives.
You should push this one to Ali.
Okay, I'll take
Putting
this.
you on the spot.
He's been here for a while. He has a deeper outlook on it. So it's only right.
Tell us.
Okay, well, first of all, I think wellness is critical in terms of just how you live your life, how you cope with everyday challenges. And I have to say, from a young age, I had a very, not spiritual, but outgoing. I really loved adventure and the outdoors. So from a very young age, we'd leave home and with friends and we'd go out. First of all, within the neighborhood. So you go seeking out, new places and new venues and that kind of thing. But as we got older, when I moved out of home and started living, with my boys as bachelors, we used to do a lot of road trips, especially out to places like Turkana. We'd just go out there, we'd work, and once we're done work, like worked on a film or something, for a break, we'd just pack our bags and head out north. And going out there was a whole new, refreshing, different experience. And by then I wasn't so spiritual. Not that I was a mess, but I wasn't really into the spiritual side of things. But in terms of physically, I used to go to the gym, especially at uni level. When I was at university, I was a gym rat. So I worked out a lot. So that combined with the adventurous spirit really helped me in terms of just my well-being. And then it's later on in life that I embraced Islam, and that added a whole new dimension because my closeness to God was manifest. There was one experience I had when I climbed Mount Kenya. This was before I became a Muslim, and I climbed Mount Kenya, and for the first time in my life, I actually felt closer to God. Yeah. So in terms of just wellness, when you're talking about spiritual and physical, that experience was something that just stayed with me. It was a very tough, arduous journey, but when you reach the top, there's a sense of fulfillment, a sense of accomplishment, and it's a really good feeling. So yes, that has been part of my experience.
Okay.
And I still do it. I still carry on even now.
Yeah, there's so much you've said, and there's so many questions I want to get from that. But first, Eugene, what is your understanding of wellness, and how has it played out in your life?
I think for me, unlike Ali, I don't have years of experience. I do have an adventurous spirit too, but for me, I find myself thinking too much. So I usually find moments where I can just be quiet in a quiet place, really do work. So I'll take walks, very, very long, unreasonably long walks, for just, you quieten the thoughts in your head, you relax, you get to enjoy nature. I like nature trails, so I go for nature trails sometimes. The other days, some mornings or some weeks, I just decide, this week, this month is just jogging. So I just wake up, go jogging. Most of the time, the one way I have known to get myself into a very comfortable space when it comes to wellness is cycling. So I just do either one of these activities. Other than that, it's just learning to set your limits.
Okay.
That's been one thing I am slowly learning. It's coming to me slowly, but I am learning how to set my limits, because that's very, very important for me.
Okay. That's very interesting. And from what both of you have said, I think as creatives specifically, it's very important to set out time intentionally to be, for you, you've said outdoors. For other people, it would be journaling. For other people, it would be praying to God. So that even for your creative processes, so that they can thrive. For me, I know as a podcaster, I'm very new to it, but I have found many times when my mind is not right, then my work is not right as well.
True.
So can you guys just tell us of experiences where you've found yourself maybe not so okay, and how maybe that has impacted your work, your different works? Yeah.
Okay, on my part, it's been a learning journey. And I have to say, I had to deal with my temper, anger, and that kind of thing, and soft skills, because you're working as a team with other people. So you have to really know how to gel. So there are occasions where maybe you don't quite have an understanding with a colleague or something. So instead of dealing with it in a sensible, mature manner, you may get yourself involved in exchanges, which are totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to actually learn that. And once I did, I was just relieved. You suddenly realize, be the bigger person and learn how to deal with this situation in a calm manner. So it's a learning process.
Yeah.
And as long as you acknowledge and you realize that you made a mistake, you may even offer an apology.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's my take.
Yeah, and as you said, wellness, I think many people don't realize exactly how you put it. It is a process.
Yep.
Sometimes you will regress, or you will find yourself not being completely okay, or not knowing how to handle certain situations. But as long as you're coming from a point of self-awareness, of knowing that this is something that I personally maybe struggle with, then from there you can actually know how to navigate it. Yeah, so I've just picked that up, and I'm like, yes, it is a process. There are times you will struggle, there are times you'll be okay. Yeah. Eugene, how has that, for a podcaster?
Yeah.
Creativity needs or requires a lot of being okay, and it even takes a lot from you. You can easily burn out because you're giving, as opposed to other jobs, you're giving a lot of yourself. You're giving your thoughts, you're sharing, and that can be tiring. How have you dealt with that?
As a podcaster, since you put it there, as a podcaster, it's become apparent to me that a lot of people who listen to podcasts are not exactly looking to hear about the personal lives of podcasters, not podcasts. So they're looking for a different outlook on life. Someone who gives them new ideas, newer ways to do things. So I've found that when I'm not okay, I find myself putting too much of myself into the show. You kind of like
that's very interesting.
Kind of like exposing yourself. You're using it as a platform to put out your anger, which shouldn't be the way. It's a platform meant for something else. But here you are, because you're not right in the mind, but you need to put out this work. So you've stressed yourself double time.
Yes.
You have work, you're not okay, but you need to do all
but
this.
But you have to be
consistent. You still feel, I need to do this and I can do this. So you put out the work. You listen back to the work and you're cringing the whole time. And it's your own work. It's not no one else's work. It's your own work. You're listening to it and it's like, no, this is not it.
Yeah.
So what I do when I find that I am in such a space. There's someone I met a few years back. He's an artist. He's a visual artist, does painting, sculptures and all that. He told me, it's your work. It's your job. Put it out whenever you want to put it out. Put it out when you feel that it's right to put it out. Because there's no one forcing you to do this thing. You don't have to do this thing.
Yeah.
But because you've chosen this path, you need to also choose to take care of yourself on this path that you're on. So yeah, that's what I do.
And from what I've gotten, especially for young people, I'll invite you, Ali, to talk about your perspective, because you have gotten a lot of experience here on Earth.
Yes.
More than we both of us have. Yeah. So you're rich in knowledge.
Okay.
I can say that for young people, we have a lot of pressure. We're just talking about it right now.
Yes, true.
There's a lot of pressure to perform. There's a lot of pressure to put yourself out there, to be the best, because you're comparing yourself to people not only in Kenya but to everywhere else, because technology has given us the resource to see what people are doing all over the world.
Sure.
So what can you say has helped you in your journey as a creative, and what advice would you give younger people who are in your creative, especially your creative space is very new?
Okay.
What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, you need stability. In my case, I was very fortunate to meet my wife at university when we were still at uni. And obviously we became friends and dated and eventually got married. So already you have a responsibility, especially when the babies come, when you start, So you need to actually be focused. So, but going back, before even I went into the whole, got married, for me it was the training, discipline. I got into bodybuilding very seriously. I was there in the gym every day. I avoided all kinds of...
It's no wonder you don't look a day over 40. You're saying 58, you're like, what?
Yeah, so that's something I'm glad I took up. And it was born out of not being able to play games like rugby anymore. Back in school, we played all the sports and all that. But as I left school and went to college, I found that the physicality was too much. So I wanted an outlet. And there were some bodybuilders at UON that time. And I thought, hey, let me just get into shape like these guys. So I went into it very seriously. And I had good coaches. So I'd always make sure I was there on time. And they always pushed me. So I felt challenged. So that way, I'm just grateful that with that discipline, I was able to focus on something and not be distracted. You know?
And when you say distracted, we are distracted with a lot. We have phones.
I know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm glad that I'm from the analog generation.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit jealous. I think both of us are. There's not so much pressure.
Yeah, because we didn't really have distractions.
Yeah.
As such.
Yeah, life
was kind of it was
simpler.
Yes, it's simpler in a sense. In some sense, it was simpler. Yeah. Because you could focus on this thing and just go and do it. Now, you can't put down your phone. From the moment you wake up and get out of bed, it's in your hand.
It's an addiction.
Yeah. You go to the bathroom with it. You go where in the kitchen. You want to start preparing breakfast, you're still looking at your phone as you. It's
You're doing
insane.
everything. And that's what I was telling you.
Yeah.
The issue of mental health might just be overrated. I'm not. I'm sure I'm not supposed to say this on camera.
No, you can say
to
whatever.
some people it might be offensive, but no, I'm not trying to offend anyone.
Yeah.
What I'm just trying to say is that the way we've become these days, we're always on our phones, on our devices, and if you notice, a lot of the videos over there are usually about mental health and everything. So because you're interacting with this content so much, you're always with this content, it's all that you're ever seeing, it becomes kind of like a background thought. Whenever you're doing anything, whenever you find yourself distracted, you find yourself a little bit stressed, not sana, just kidogo. You're over there saying, oh, I have ADHD, I have this. No. Sometimes what you need to do is relax, breathe.
Take yourself
Exactly.
in nature.
Yes.
Like what you guys have
Just put
said.
down. Just disconnect.
Take a
Exactly.
long walk.
Disconnect.
Just disconnect.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I was talking about, that adventurous spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because with my boys, we'd just say you guys were heading out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what lies ahead, but you're going.
Yeah, and there's no way someone can
Exactly.
text you and tell you,
Yeah.
last minute, I'm not coming.
No.
Yeah.
You guys were going, we're planning this day, everything. You all pack up and
And
you
you
head
go.
out. And you have a wonderful, wonderful time. And I'm just so grateful that the group of friends that I have also have a similar adventurous
Interest.
spirit. Yeah, similar interests.
Yeah.
So that has kept us going. I mean, we've been friends since I was 5
Mm-hmm.
with the same lot.
Wow.
Yes.
5.
Since I was
You
5.
see what I'm telling you? Things were simpler.
Things were simpler, and you've
Yes.
actually touched on something that we are going to just delve into.
Yeah.
But before that, I'd like to just tell our listeners that you can listen to previous episodes of this podcast on your various streaming platforms. Please remember to rate and to also leave a comment. For example, leave a comment right now about something you've learned before we proceed. Yeah, and so you were talking about having community. How it is so important. I can't stress how important it is, because it's a very big aspect of wellness. Very many of us young people do not have relationships.
Wow.
We do not have friends who we can say are our friends, who, like you, we are friends since you're 5.
Yeah.
We do not
Yeah.
have that.
Those lasting connections.
Lasting connections.
Wow. That's
It's no wonder that you're so stable in terms of, because you have community around you.
yeah.
Tell us just about that. Continue.
I think it was just, it's from when we grew up. I think it had to do with the way we were set up, like in the residential areas, you know.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in South B, Mariakani Flats. So, you know, the flats were all around a playground. So all the kids would play in the middle, and, you know, the flats were surrounding. And one nice thing about it was that we were from different backgrounds, different cultures, even Indians. Yeah, and that goes to school as well. Like I learned the game of cricket and hockey from my Indian,
Friend.
year mates, schoolmates. And on top of that, they also invited us to their homes. So we'd eat their food. So we demystified the Indian, we demystified the Jungu,
Yeah.
and any other fellow Kenyan. You'd go into their homes, you'd go in there, you'd eat their food, you'd go to their shags, you know. So the bonds were strong. And that's something I appreciate very much to this day, because it helps you carry on with your life. Whenever you meet anybody, you can engage with them.
You can have a conversation.
You can have a conversation, because soft skills are key.
Are very important.
Yeah, if you don't have any support structure, of course you'll suffer.
And suffer.
They say no man is an island, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So having that support structure just gives you confidence. You know, there's somebody who has your back.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. Eugene, tell us your experience of that, of having, would you say, just after, given what he has said, community and friends, and because I'm interviewing guys, I'm just going to talk about it from a guy's perspective. Would you say, as a guy, you have a similar community?
I would say, like Ali said, he's from a different generation. This generation of ours, it's a bit difficult, because I do have a few people who are behind me, people who look up to me, and those are the people who actually keep me going. Like, I do not release podcasts for a very long while, and I get so many calls like, "Wait, we want
Where
the
are you?
episodes. What are you doing? Are you okay?" You know, all those kinds of questions.
That's good.
But then you find that creating that permanent community is the part that becomes a bit tricky. Because now you find everyone is doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Especially right now. Ali grew up with his friends. From 5. Do you know
5?
how young
Me, I'm jealous.
those connections will
Yes,
last
I'm
for
like,
years?
what?
You 5. Yeah, we will jealous. To be honest, I am
Me
jealous.
too.
If I still had my 5 friends I had when I was 5, it would be a whole different story right now. But you see, right now, the way things happen, life has changed. The whole, setup of communities has changed. These days, nobody really cares about their neighbors.
True.
Especially if you live in a flat. Like he said, he grew up in flats. And you see, everyone was interacting.
Personally, I can't say I know more than 3 of my neighbors.
You see?
Wow.
And you live with them. You see them every other
day. Yeah.
And everyone over there, even if something were to happen in your place, no one would care. No one would come back to help you. And that's the thing. There's this mentality where everyone is now on their own.
Exactly.
Everyone is now on their own.
Selfish streak.
Yeah. It's sort of selfishness, but it's also at the same time conditioning. It has become something normal over time.
Yeah.
Don't talk to your neighbors. Don't talk to strangers. Don't do this thing. So it's become conditioned. People have been conditioned to think like this. And the problem is, even into adulthood, you just find people still thinking, don't talk to your neighbors. Don't talk to strangers. But you don't realize these strangers, these neighbors are the ones who will help you when you're in trouble.
Exactly.
You need these people around you.
Very much.
So I guess for me, I'm saying this like I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah.
No, I have not. I just realized these things a few years back. Like I realized I've been living the wrong way for a very long time. Like avoiding strangers and all those things. Like there needs to be a different way to do this. You need to have people around you who understand where you're going, who have been where you're going, who maybe are going where you're going.
Yeah.
And you keep them around you, because this way it's much easier for you to even keep track, to stay energized, to feel like I'm going somewhere with this. I'm doing something with this. There's good coming out of my efforts.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even you who notices it. Because I've been talking to a few artists and they're like, man, at some point you just feel like you're not doing anything. But then someone just comes in and is like, I love your work.
Exactly.
This is what
That picks you up.
You just,
Okay.
Picks you up.
back to where I was.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm doing the right thing. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Community is
And
very
I am
crucial.
very challenged as well, as you said, to just put myself out there a bit more. And I know COVID has made it worse because we were so used to being on our own and in our houses, but just being intentional about it. That's what I've gotten from both of you. So yeah, I'm going to ask as well another question. Self-care. I know self-care is said to be mostly for women, but I'm sure there are some fun things that you do that makes you feel good. Because that is also wellness. For me, I'd say it's just skincare, maybe going out with a few of my friends, just having a good time. So what are those things that you do that makes you feel good and just makes your day?
Ali, allow me to take this one even because my mouth is already watering.
Please, just go right ahead.
Even
Go
food.
right ahead.
Food.
So if I'm alone, I have to just go eat a burger. There are days when I feel completely out. Like I do not want to see anyone. I'm just not in the mood. So I just go, find me a burger, eat. Once I'm done, I'm like, okay, so what was I saying again?
Yeah.
What was I stressed about? Forgot it.
Nothing.
If I'm with my friends, if it's, because sometimes you find like it's just general lowness, general sadness. It doesn't make sense sometimes. So you just find everyone is low at this point. You're like, so we just buy nyama, get a grill, because we can do that. Do that at home. Just buy nyama, a lot of meat, get a grill, invite guys. Just guys, not even lead. Just guys.
Especially just have your guy time and
or maybe just go to a forest, because there's a few forested areas around back home. So you're like, let's just just walk in there, carry the grill, you bring the charcoal, you bring whatever else you're bringing. Just go in there, let's just sit, let's just eat and talk this out.
Okay, there's something you said about food. That one I'll just comment. I feel that one deeply because food can actually just change your mood.
It does.
It
does.
Yeah. For you, Ali?
For me, you mentioned COVID and the fact that it affected us in different ways. For me, it actually made me get a huge interest in cooking food.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I never used to cook. And in fact, my kids used to ask their mom, "Hey, Dad can't cook," So it bothered me.
Yeah.
It bothered me. But then COVID came round, and suddenly I was the chef in the house. So I said, "Okay, let's do this thing." So I picked it up, and I found it was it helped me relax. As opposed to people saying cooking. Yeah, it's therapeutic.
It is.
Instead of people saying, "Man, I hate this cooking word," but I actually enjoy it. You take the garlic, you're squeezing it and stuff, the smell, stickiness on your hands, all this
seeing
food.
the final product.
Yeah.
I made this.
All the aromas and stuff. It's very therapeutic.
It is.
And from that time, I've never looked back. I really enjoy cooking. In fact, I always look for an excuse.
Hey, okay.
I'm
sure
to cook.
People are like, "Hi, yeah, just to go, please."
I just want to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, in fact, my family now are so spoiled. They say, "Hey, Dad is not
You
cooking."
haven't cooked for us. Yeah.
You should be asking them. So you say I can't cook. Whatever you telling me to cook again.
So wellness, yes, eating good food, and I'm not throwing barbs at those who like junk. There's some people who just get their thrill from junk, but that's a whole different thing. It's about addiction, but we won't talk about that. But in terms of food, yes, eating a good meal. I also enjoy going to the barbers. My weekly visit to the barber there, you get your kinyozi, he shaves you nicely, conversation,
the whole setting.
I have been told that the barber in the car wash is therapeutic for guys.
Barbers are therapists.
Yeah, you get your head massage.
There should be like a certification over there for like.
Yeah, you get a head massage.
This barber is a certified therapist.
Yeah, you get your head massage. You can, and it's nice. So when you leave there, you're feeling refreshed. You've checked yourself in the mirror and you're saying, "Yeah, I'm looking okay now."
That barber did a good job.
That's very interesting. So as we wind up, I think the one thing that I would love for us to really talk about and to get your perspective is rest. The final thing I'd like to us talk about is rest. I have found myself many times feeling guilty for resting. Because there's this capitalist, we live in a very capitalist world where your worth most of the time comes from what you do and the output that you put out, that you forget just being able to rest and just being a human being and just relaxing. How important is it for you guys resting, and how important is it for your creative process? Anyone can
take it. Okay, I'll take it on. So, like I said at the introduction of this podcast, I do a podcast and I also have a radio show, and I also double as a radio producer on those radio shows. So you find yourself sometimes you're all over the place. You're in, out, you're here, you're in front of the mic, you're behind the mic, you're helping all these people. You forget yourself. You haven't eaten, you haven't had a day of sleep, because shows start, as early as 6, end as late as any time. So you're all over the place and you're wondering. At some point you get to a point and you just feel like, okay, I'm now just another cog in the wheel. I'm just moving with things. I'm going with the flow, which shouldn't be it. Because you remember, you're a creative over here. You're not supposed to be going with the flow. You are the flow. You're creating the flow that you want to go with. So if you're still, if you find yourself just going with the flow, sometimes honestly, all you need is sleep. I have sworn by, I will swear by sleep. Sleep is very essential. You just need a proper 8 hours sleep. I mean, if it's a very busy week, 5 hours is fine. It depends on the age. I'm sure Ali would, maybe has a different opinion.
Definitely,
But yeah. If you're young, I mean, you can take 5 hours of sleep each day and still be fine. And of course, naps during the day. If I swear, if you can find someone to just nap, people do
like
it.
A power nap.
Just 30 minutes. You're good.
Close your eyes. Don't let anyone disturb you. Just do the thing. But rest is very important. And rest is not just sleep, Sometimes you also just need to step away from everything.
Yes.
You've been working for 6, 8, 10 months and you haven't even taken a vacation. You've been cancelling all your off days, saying you want to compile them. It's time to use them. Use them. Just take that 1 week, that 1 month, those 2 weeks, get away. Go on airplane mode. I swear, if they miss you, they'll find a way to contact you.
It is never that
just
serious.
Do that. It's for yourself. It's not for anyone else. It's for
that
yourself.
Expression, it's never that
It's
serious.
never that serious.
That works really well with that. Yeah, and I concur. Sleep, it is critical. Lack of sleep will kill you. Yeah, your body will waste away. Because the way we were created, there's so many hours of sun, of sunlight or daylight, and then comes night.
Yeah.
And it's just the way work has been done. Yes, there are people who do the night shift as well, but they find they get to sleep during the day.
It's called the circadian. Is it circadian or circadian?
Yes, there's some
circadian it's a rhythm. It's a
rhythm. Yeah,
CICARDIAN.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like how your body is trained to shut off and be at work.
Exactly.
Shut off and be at work.
Yeah, you have to. So for me, rest is important. I know we're living in a time where things are needed yesterday.
Yeah.
And because you have a mobile phone, and because you can be reached at any time, then people can call you at ungodly hours, asking you, "Hey, that email," or "Can you get this done?"
Yeah.
People have forgotten that you need some R&R, rest and relaxation.
Yes.
So it is critical, if you ask me. If you don't get enough rest, people look at you and say, "Esther, you're looking wasted, man. What's up?"
You're like, "No, I'm fine. It's
I'm
just
fine.
work."
Yeah, it's
No,
just
no,
work.
No,
It's
need to
not
rest.
that. You need to rest. So it is key. I mean, one way or another, you have to have self-love. You have to be. I don't even say it's selfish, really.
It's
No,
not.
It's not selfish.
You know, I was reading this interesting article the other day. It said it's just like the ending statement there. You need to find the difference between selfishness and selflessness.
Yeah.
Because for even for you to just even be there for other people, you need to pour into yourself
Exactly.
and to be okay and to
Exactly,
rest and to
yeah.
take care of yourself.
It's key.
I'm so glad to have you, both of you guys, and to have this conversation. I have enjoyed it. I have learned so much from both of you. Thank you so much for being part of Minutes of Joy podcast.
Thank you for the
It's been a
invite.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks
and
for the invite.
I hope we'll do this again.
Oh,
I hope so
sometime.
too. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah. It was
Yes.
great. I
We
enjoyed
should.
the conversation.
Thank you so much. And for our listeners, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And just can let us know what your takeaway has been, what you have learned. I would like you guys to just plug yourselves. Where can people find you? Are you on the socials? I know Ali is he's 58, but he knows
He's
all these
everywhere.
things. He's everywhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram,
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
But I'm, at the moment, I'm just there as me, not
Okay.
as a
As a
brand or
brand.
something.
All right.
But I
maybe
I-
for work.
yeah, for work, yes. I mean, I'd really like to. I want to do mentorship. Yeah, especially in both fields, like in production design and in voiceover, and especially after I've had this conversation with you, Esther, just about the importance and significance of podcasting insofar as people listening in and learning and having takeaways. Because like I said, I'm old school, so I never imagined I'd have to sit in front of a mic and tell people this, that, the other, or even record a video. But obviously we're living in different times and we have to adapt or die, as they say. So in this case, I will adapt, and I'll put myself out there when I'm just, I'll put myself out there and I'll be happy because really, you get to an age where I've reached now. I'm looking at younger people. I mean, my kids, from when they were born, I nurtured them, whatnot. They're grown up, they're adults. And we have very interesting conversations. And they challenge me, they ask questions. So it's obviously something that I feel I need to give back. That's where I'm at. All these experiences I've had at work, it's not just for me, it's also for other people to learn.
Exactly.
So that's my
and
take.
maybe can you just tell our listeners exactly what you do, because it's very important, very
so
interesting.
I am a voice actor. I've voiced radio and TV ads for over 15 years, and I also do film production design, which is basically it's film is creative, but the artistic side, giving color, texture, and line to a film.
Okay.
So whenever you watch a film and it's a musical, maybe very colorful, that kind of thing. A war film maybe is a bit dull and that kind of thing. Sci-fi movies, all that kind of thing. But I've loved art from a very young age, so I'm glad I'm here where I am.
Yeah, that's really dope. We are
Thank
so
you.
excited. So
Myself, you can just find me. Unlike Ali, I'm now a brand. I am not found on my personal social media.
Yeah.
So you can find me at OTB Podke. That's Out the Booth Podcast across all social media platforms.
Okay. Sawa sawa. And finally, this episode has been brought to you by AMP Studios, and it's also in partnership with Goethe-Institut, ADMI, and GIZ,
Yes.
as part of an incubator program that I am in. So thank you so much for all of you guys for enabling us to be here and giving us this amazing opportunity. We are very grateful, and to our lecturers as well. Thank you so much. Sawa sawa, that's it from us at Minutes of Joy. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.
Thank you.